Hello, everyone. Today, despite me being a little sick, I have put together the content to really make probably the tradition video I've wanted to make this entire time, which is what wonders make a tradition build. Tradition is one of those trees where oftentimes you need to build a bunch of wonders to stay relevant. If you don't build wonders on Force City Trad, oftentimes the joke is that like, oh, you're Trad, you got no wonders, your game sucks. Um, Today we're going to dispute that a little bit, and we're going to talk about something that is kind of a little bit different. But long and the short of it is that not every tradition game you need to build every wonder. And actually picking and choosing what wonders you are building and what wonders you aren't building is how you can have consistently very strong tradition builds. Now, understanding what you need to go for is quite difficult, and you need to understand what your game does and doesn't have. And really, when you're doing this well, you're filling the gaps in your game. You're using wonders to subsidize the part of your game that isn't as strong, so that you can have a comprehensively strong game. Um, let's dive into it a bit. The first thing I want to talk about in this video is that tradition as a tree doesn't have a lot of yields. So if we look at these, are kind of my analysis of the yields that tradition has. Tradition has medium population. You're able to settle cities and grow, and through the mid to early game, and this is really through the mid. This is like what the tree supports, not eventually what all tradition games will look like, because obviously tradition games can be some of the highest culture games. They can be some of the highest gold games. They can be some of the highest food games. But early, the tradition doesn't give you those things. The tree does not enable strong games that way. So tradition is medium pop. You settle your cities, and you're able to grow pretty quickly, but it's not it's higher pop than piety. It's probably higher pop than early than honor, but there's not a lot of the tree gives you growth in the capital, but doesn't give you a ton of raw food, and that's why it's medium pop early, lower late. If your game isn't good, if your game is good, it can be very high late. It's low food. It really is. You have a growth modifier at the end of the tree, and you have landed elite. But other than that, you're not settling a bunch of cities. The tree doesn't enable you to play like honor, where you go super wide. It doesn't have any like beliefs like piety does, such as like feed or ways to subsidize food and rel. And really, the food is that the food comes early when possible. It's early tradition finishers, early aqueducts to enable a bunch of growth. But the base food of the tree, it's not like you're going to have the highest food demo early. This is why demo pantheons help subsidize this quite frequently. Sun God, uh, harvest festivals. We talked a lot about those in a previous video. Go check that one out if you want to check out pantheons. But it's not inherently high food in the tree. It's low culture in the tree. You finish tradition, I think you make on average, if you don't build any wonders, you make like 14 culture per turn, maybe 12. I don't know on 4 city tradition. So there's not a lot of culture in the tree. You get a lot of culture from building wonders, but you have to build the wonders to do that. It's medium gold. It has a pretty good gold policy, as in monarchy, which is 1 gold for every 2 population in the capital. And you just have less cities, so you just have a little bit more gold lying around. But there's no free GA. There's nothing that will like spike your gold early. But the gold is pretty solid. It's low hammers. You don't settle that many cities. You don't have any production modifiers. You don't have anything like that. So the hammers are just going to be from getting your infrastructure and growing really big. It's high science because you queue your libraries early, and generally you have centralized early pop. So you have a little bit more population in your capital. When you build, you're able to build your NC a little bit faster. All those things. It has faster science early than other trees. Generally from that centralization of pop in the capital. And it's high happy. It has monarchy. It has a bunch of. It has aristocracy. Has a couple happy policies. And so the tree has a lot of happy in it. So as you see, like these yields aren't great. So people, why would you play this tree? Tradition is all about subsidizing this missing yields. Food is primarily subsidized through a pantheon, culture through wonders, hammers through high population eventually, and that's really how we subsidize it. What yields do we need? What yields are the most important? Tradition is all about your food number. It's all about getting really big pop. It's a tree of growing. So you really want to enable that because if you get high pop, everything else will come. The last thing to call out: no tradition game is exactly the same, and what you need differs. So your game plan should differ, and this should affect the wonders you go for. So as we go to the next slide, this is a kind of wonder timeline of where wonders will go in 80 to 90% of games. From the earliest point to kind of the top end is like in competitive lobbies, it should be gone by about this time. Some of these are high variation, some of them are low variation. The slides included in this video specifically for reference, so I have this in case anybody is questioning it. Also to show that with these overlaps, you just can't build all the wonders. You have to some extent pick and choose what you're going for. You can have very strong games where you build a lot of them, and your game's probably strong because of some other reason. Grabo does this a lot. Like the classic Graboing is when you have 4-city trad with a wonder queued in every city. But Grabo is one of the best tradition players to play LEC currently. But the reality is you just can't build all these wonders. So really knowing what your game needs and what to pick and choose and what to grab is important is very important. So this is kind of the first. I want to highlight the slide because I really want to talk about the difference in builds and how even like a 4-city tradition build varies differently if you're on a demo pantheon or if you're on a culture or faith pantheon. So generally, 4-city tradition culture pantheon is going to rush Philo for it's going to rush Philo for Oracle. Generally, you want to build Stonehenge or GL, depending upon if you have a faith source. To secure your pantheon, Stonehenge is great, and eventually a religion. GL is great if you need a bunch of text in the early game. Generally, you go Philo for Oracle. You build the fast Oracle. Then you finish your tradition extremely quickly, and you use the tempo of your tradition finisher and your free aqueducts, plus synergizing with the demo pantheon to grow a bunch of pop in your expands and your capital extremely quickly. And this kickstarts your science. This makes your game really explosive. Usually you couple this with trying to build your national college like almost directly after Oracle. Maybe you build a caravan and then you're in national college, but you want to be starting your national college in the late 40s, early 50s, and then starting Chichen right about turn 55. So this will allow you to get your 70 unis or sooner. And really this is like it's a cap-centric build. Your capital to do this has to be extremely strong and extremely high food. That's when it's the best. These high hammer capitals, this doesn't work as well on. Counter that with non-Oracle tradition. This is something you don't need Oracle, right? You're going to finish tradition with your culture pantheon somewhere between 50 and 55. Usually your NC is usually a little bit later because your expands aren't as strong because you're not finishing this as fast. But the reality is it allows you to go for all these different wonders, right? My preference on this is GL because I would like generally a little bit tempo back in the game, especially if I can GL currency and go GL and cap into Petra, into Hanging Garden and expands. So now if my expand can build a Hanging Garden or a Petra, my expand's going to be a lot stronger. My game's going to be, my total demos are probably stronger long term because I have this extra base food, this extra incredibly impactful wonder. That's not just a tempo wonder. Huey and Althing are great on this build because they're just extra demos in your expand. This build can be transitioned to more of a 5-city a lot more frequently. But already you see, like, just because I have a different pantheon choice, I'm playing the game differently. I'm the first wonder I build is I already have a preference for that to change, and that's going to change the way I play the game, and that's going to change my build in general. So we have 5 games that we've highlighted in all of these different tradition videos. The first game is the 5-city Greece game. So actually, I don't even think this is my last settler. I'm going to start all of these right around. Let's see if I can get this into good quality. Right around when I start building my first, I'm done with my settlers, and what I really want on this game is I want a GL, and I can't build GL. So someone else has already built it or is building it. It may have been Philippines on my left in the Solomon City. I can't quite remember who built GL this game, but I go Stonehenge here not because I want Stonehenge, but because I'm checking capitals and I'm just aware no one's building it. Now if nobody's building it and I'm heading towards he's building GL. It looks like Korea is. towards Petra anyway, I'm gonna have time, because what all I really want this game is Petra and Corinth. If I get Petra and Corinth, I know my game can, and really hanging in cap as well. My game can be strong enough to kind of make this work. So I build this Stonehenge. I don't build it especially fast, and then I go into Hanging Gardens. Corinth is going to finish this watermill and then go directly into Petra. Very important in this game. I'm playing a pretty slow 5-city tradition build. And what that means is I have to accept that I'm not going to get the explosive. I'm on Harvest Festivals, which is a demo pantheon, but I'm not going to get the explosive kind of Oracle game. And teching Philo from a tech commitment is extremely taxing. So if I tech to Philo and I'm not strong enough to build Oracle or beat another faster guy to Oracle, which this game was not especially fast in the start, it's very painful. So I'm lucky this game, and I get both of these wonders. I get Hanging Gardens, and I get, it looks like a 48 Oracle unsubbed. I would have had to beat that, even though he's 7 citywide Piety. If he can get it, he's gonna, and his game was relatively explosive. I get the Hanging Gardens in turn 49. I get the Petra somewhere in the early 50s. And my game kind of just explodes from there. I'm not the fastest to civil here. I'm 59 civil. But, I think I'm able to get a Chichen and cap. And, but before turn 60, I've only built 3 wonders. But that's okay. But the Petra City just has free hammers. It's going into a Parthenon. And as we click through, I build my NC. I think I build an Aya here, but maybe not. My religion is... I found religion off the Stonehenge, Dawa and religious community. And I opened, the other very important thing is I opened Petro. Why Petro is so good here, just to talk about briefly, there's a bunch of city-states. I do have a North Honor player, I believe, on Bolivia. But on Greece, it's very good because you have the synergistic where the decay of the influence with these city-states is half of the normal rate. This allows you to do some funny things, but allows you to kind of keep these allies. And I don't even have the best Petro game here. My Petro game, it's, for most of it, it's 2 happy allies. And then eventually, some culture friends. I think I allied them eventually. But my patronage game is not too insane. The only other thing I want to talk about is, once I hit unis, I think do I build Anchor Wat? I wouldn't be surprised if I do. I do build Anchor Wat in Capital, which is very common on tradition games. And I'm building unis in all my expands. My unis aren't too fast. My patronage game's okay, but I kind of have this decision to make. Do I want to go Sistine, or do I want to go for Leaning? On 5 or more cities, I think Leaning is very, very impactful tradition wonder to increase your scientist generation. The other thing is that, so I believe I go for Leaning, and I get it, and I think I go into Alhambra afterwards. Looks like we resynced here. And I built a lot of gold infrastructure. I built, I think, all of my banks and markets, and I know I have Alhambra in my capital, but I go kind of get to factories. I get to factories not the fastest in the world. I think somewhere in, looks like 89, but, on this, but my demos are quite good. I don't know if I F9 here too often, but I essentially set up for a fac arty play, because I know I'm kind of in this position where I'm afraid of both of my neighbors, and going into either one of them is quite good, because they kind of scale harder than me as Piety Aesthetics unsubbed, or just coastal Philippines is like a very annoying coastal civ with unique unit, and I know I want to be active at this timing. If you want to know more about why I picked this timing specifically, I made a video on it. It's the how to pick a timing video. Anyway, going from there, without very much, I go into, I think I go get 102 artillery, post factories, which is very fast, without using Oxford. I have a scientist lineup, and I'm there. I kill subbed rather quickly, and, then I'm playing order on this, and I'm set up for the late game on a very nice order build, flipping all the sub-cities around turn 115. So I think the war was 7-8 turns. Not too long. The end of this game is eventually me building labs. I'm gonna beat Dwight. I think it's Dwight. Yeah, Dwight K. Schrute, the Philippines player, to nukes. The North 2 players are warring. It's a duel. I decide to draw the game. We both do, but kind of go from there. So knowing that, let's talk about the build a little bit. The whole point of this big build on Greece was kind of a big demo-esque build, as I talked about earlier. We have this expand Petra and cap hanging, very strong. This was, I think, on turn 85. I was 5 cities, 85 pop. Very, very strong for a tradition game. Stonehenge hanging, Parthenon, Petra, Chichen, and then Angkor Alhambra, and Leon. These are enough wonders that with this, once I went into GA after I finished my factories, I was top hammers. I had this Petro synergistic with Greece. I didn't need a ton of culture to do that. And then I had turn 73 unis, not the fastest game, but something where I played, the game was good enough, even though it was relatively low tempo, that I could get a kill on my neighbor. So, the next game, as we go into it, is this Moors game. This Moors game is a lot higher tempo. It's a Harvest Festival game. I'm playing 4 City of Tradition. I talk about a little bit about why I play 4 City of Tradition. The reason in other videos, so go check that out if you want to know why. But talking about the build here a little bit, on turn 26, I saw GL go. I know it's probably, I'm actually in voice chat with Keck. I know Keck was not building GL. He was having a miserable game. I know Russo built it on the coast. My intuition is he GL'd Ironworking for Colossus on kind of an OCC-esque GL build. And that I will have the opportunity to go Philo for Oracle. But I'm kind of forced here to build... Henge. Again, both of these games I think I would have preferred GL. I don't get it, right? GL is better for my build. And that's Civ. That happens sometimes. So I go into Henge and then into Oracle. Pretty standard. The nice thing about this is I have a nice cap Petra here. I don't see anyone else on the map with a cap Petra. So after I go into Oracle, I actually finish Oracle and go... I think I build some Sim here, and then my expand goes into hanging in 2 turns. Maybe I build my cap library. I'm still waiting on Mercia's library for NC. And then I think I go Oracle. Not Oracle. I think I go... Sorry, I'm not clicking fast enough because I split this. I go Petra here, and then Granada is such a strong city, it's 10 pop. I don't even know if it finishes Worker. It's going to go into hanging, I believe. Because no one else... After the Worker, even. I think I'm kind of expecting Daddy Cool on... Right? I go hanging there, right? Yeah, I do. I'm really expecting Daddy Cool to build hanging as he's playing Aztec Trad. He actually plays like a 6-city super wide Trad. He's just not building wonders because it's very hard to build wonders on 6-city Trad and be relevant. And his game was actually good. Kudos on him. It was probably the right call. On builds where I have Oracle, as you can see, I have to pick a secondary policy tree here. I know I'm in the corner. I'm in a very good sim spot. And with Oracle, picking aesthetics is quite nice, especially because I see my wonder runs quite good. It looks like I went Chichen into NC. Ideally, you'd like to flip those, but because I built the Petra, that's where the NC kind of normally is in your build queues on Tradition. And I just kind of keep building wonders this game. I think I get some Theo wonders. Looks like I get Boro. And I build my call, and then I hit unis around turn 71. I'm building Angkor. And this is where this game split up into 2 parts, but I go Sistine here because aesthetics really need Sistine. This is where this game actually gets insane. So let's go here.
It's kind of BM though.
I'm gonna mute Delph because you guys don't need to hear him talking about how things are BM. I go Sistine. I hard build Sistine. I think I overflow, and then I hard build pork. I don't even. It looks like I didn't even overflow an opera or anything. And then I end up pseudo Ren sweeping this game. Valencia engineers Globe Theater, and I just pass on Taj because I know I'm gonna aesthetics GA, and once I aesthetics GA, I'm going to just be a GA the rest of the game. So that's kind of like the core. This build, I built enough demos. I got these high pop cities. I grew a ton early, so I'm able to just like run over Renaissance. And nobody else was having a particularly super strong game. I go factories, schools. I go autocracy. I get Hameji after both of those. I build my military academies. I build a ton of units. You know, I finished aesthetics earlier. My culture became insane, 284 on this turn in GA. And I'm set up. I think my land ships is faster. Daddy Cool knows I'm attacking him. I have a scientist next turn. 113, auto 6, clausy land ships, ratio 3, aesthetics 5. Daddy Cool actually, like, we have a pretty good war here. You know, if you can see, he has anti-tank gun in his capital, so he's not set up, but he has a lot of trash to get through is really the main point. He's not a free kill, and I don't have that many land ships. I only have, you know, on this turn, on 115, I only have 15 land ships, so it's not like this 20 land ship. I was kind of hamstrung on gold a little bit this game, and when you go fast, it's sometimes hard on your build queues. Remember, this game was only, I think, 71 unis, so it wasn't like this super fast timing. The insane thing about this game is I'm just going to push ratio 5, and then I'm going to kill him with flight and land ships, and I think I eventually do. We end right about as I'm killing him. I think I'm on his cap at the end of the game, or I've just capped his cap. I've just taken his cap. I'm going to take the last 2 cities. He's going to leave the game after this, and you know, you can see he has his own land ships. He's just already dead. And I'm gonna get labs in 5 turns. So I'm gonna have auto labs. I'll build my labs. I'll flip his empire. I'll start killing people with radar, and then I'll go stealth. We draw the game, but I'm pretty sure this was a winning position by me. So what does this look like? On our recap. Here, let's switch displays. So this game was just a game I built every single Ren Wonder. So I didn't get GL. My game wasn't fast. It's what I wanted, but I had that Petra after Oracle and the hanging in the expand and Chichen. I clicked aesthetics. You know, I picked a route with a bunch of faith and a bunch of culture. So it helped enable these like greedy aesthetics play. I'm in a corner. I only have 2 neighbors. You know, this was turn 72. I'm not super big. I'm only 63 pop, but that's pretty big for 4 cities. You know, you can see my wonders aren't insane or anything, but they're good enough. And I got this, I think I engineered leaning too. But I hard built, cysteine and I hard built pork. And then I went shops first, and then with all of these engineer points, right? Engineer point. I think I had 2 engineers, so I can, and I engineer globe as well. I could go back and check, but I'm pretty confident that I engineer leaning and I engineer globe. So it was a very fun, different game where this feels like your classic 4-city trad steamroll insane game, but it's based off this build of, okay, this Stonehenge Oracle on this demo path, which is good. The next one we have is Nubia, and this is also going to feel like a pretty classic tradition game. This isn't super fast. I'm starting GL on turn 30, but the nice thing is I have Sun God here, so I'm going to have a ton of food. I'm not settling, you know, by Nubia standards, this is a pretty slow game, but I get GL, and I end up going GL into Oracle. The reason is I have my pants secured. I know it's pretty fast. I don't even think the Oracle's that fast. You know, opportunistically, I see no one's unhanging, so I just build a hanging in my cap after. You know, it's hanging is kind of one of those wonders that, like, sometimes you are the only trad player, or there's 2 trad players and the other guy's not going for it. And if that's the case, hanging's phenomenal. It's like this huge bonus because I think it's an amazing wonder, and I think it's the same caliber wonder as Oracle. I think you need them at different times. Oracle is more your demo panth. Your culture panth leans hanging. So, this game is another game where I kind of just get what I want. I'm setting up Kerma, I think, for a Petra. You can see here. I was very annoyed with Artifact City. I thought it was very forward towards me. But, you know, you digress. You gotta live with those things. And, you know, I get hanging, I get Petra, I get Chichen. Um, at some point I build NC. It looks like I haven't built NC yet, but my pop's insane. So that's carrying. I build Chichen. I probably build NC right after. I have NC. I don't know if I built it right after Chichen or not. Um, but the interesting thing about this game is I actually don't go Theo. I don't. I want to go Theo, but someone else beats me to Theo. I lose both Theo and Wonders, and I didn't build Stonehenge. So this means I'm kind of hamstrung. Yeah, it looks like a NC right after Chichen. I'm hamstrung into Piety second, um, to kind of get my religion. So Piety second is pretty weak on 4 cities. It is considered most of the time, unless you're doing this one strategy, which kind of requires Oracle, and you'll see me encompass here, and that is you go Apostolic Palace second with Dharma. And when you do that, it makes your attack really, really fast, but you don't scale as hard as some of these other builds. So I build my shrines, I build my temples. Notably, I have Chichen. I've not GA'd. That's going to be very relevant later. I think my uni timing looks like you can see 69. So it's very fast unis, especially post shops. Excuse me as I drink water for my cold and my voice. Looks like I get Huey and expand. I have Petra in this expand, Huey in this one. I'm building this, and I really just want to go fast here with this. This is the fastest game out of the bunch. I have a planted scientist because I spawned my GL Oracle scientist quite quickly. I'm gonna build Anchor Watt, and I don't even. And on turn, I think 78 is the turn. 78, I finish GT, I enhance my rel, and I get. I'm building Hollow to GA. Looks like this was the turn I finished my GT. Let's see if we can see it. It looks like it's here. Finish GT. So I'm at 227 science per turn. I know that's kind of hard to see. And then, I take Guru. I take Dharma. Okay, 250. And then I'm going to enhance with Apo. And watch what happens. 260. So I've increased it, or 259. So by just under 40 science per turn. And it's only going to keep going. So if you kind of watch this, right? On turn 78, or turn 81, I get leaning. But I spawn my second scientist on turn 86. And I'm in factories at that point. Looks like a hard build Globe, which is like going for kind of one of these kind of greedy hard builds is pretty standard as trad. These really nice hammer caps can do it quite easily. I actually take Piety 3, which is the science policy, and I'm at 310 science per turn. This is like wide science numbers for turn 88. So I'm very happy with that element of my game. I'm going really fast. I go post schools into hitting Artie on turn, looks like 102, and just disrespecting Dartifact with this attack. This isn't a timing. This is just, I have more tech than you. I have more hammers than you. My game is better than yours. I'm gonna kill you, and that's what this attack really is, right? He doesn't have anything. He can't have anything. This is too fast. There's no indication that this attack is coming either. I'm Giga dead, by the way. So if you want to CC, I'm equal. This game was so incredibly fast. That's all it did. So I kind of agreed. Grabo, the really good. What I remember with this game, the really good trad player, is in my chat this game. Saying, no, don't annex these cities yet. Get your Hermitage up. So I'm like building Hermitage behind this attack. If you can see, yeah, you can see me finishing. Like I'm on his capital with units. I'm not building anything else. I'm just building Sim behind this. I built 15 units and I killed them. I actually had Terracotta this game, didn't go, which was super strange. I Terracotta a bunch of like really late units. I think, I'm curious if you can see it. Yeah, it's coming out of Nuri. I'm like greeting it because my tech is so fast and it's just so many extra hammers for me. Just so stupid. He's dead, and this game ends in a rather unfortunate way. I click labs. All of that's fine. And I get triple teamed to end the game. So Yeb was not relevant doing this. I was, and I think he said In my yeah, I'm trying to like, talk my way out of this. In my book, you already won this. I'm in triple feed teamed. We're essentially king making for urban, and then at the end of the game, I'm kind of defending. Napata's gonna fall eventually, but at the end of the game, looks like I loaded in someone his slot. We kind of end the game when Yeb declares on me with like a million via Kong. Let's see if we can see it. Uh, yeah, over here. Um, yeah, there's like a million and a half via Kong just rolling into my cities. There's no defending this triple team ever. My game was too good. They either were going to CC or this was going to happen and I was going to lose. And so this is what happened. If in a tournament context I lose, in my book I got triple teamed. So whatever. Um, I'm order 11. Like this is just dumb. Um, so let's talk about the recap of that game. Um, this was the no faith game, right? This is just speed is king. GL into Oracle on the demo path. This is what we talked about earlier on Sun God Insane. I found eventually with high culture, high faith to kind of help my faith generation because it was quite slow. I had to open piety, went apostolic, really helped with the speed of the game. Just went for leaning. I think I got pork after factories, which was just insane. I had to actually open ratio for it, which is fine, but I think I'm compromising an order policy to do so, but it's really good if you can get pork as well. And in this instance where I have so much centralized pop and science in my capital, it's quite strong. Especially when you have the GT policy, which is that piety 3, which is 25% science from Grand Temple, comes even better. So that's all I kind of wanted to highlight on this game. That like it's not the end of the world if you don't get any faith. Like I didn't get any faith, and my game was maybe even better for it because I got to do this kind of apo and insanely fast thing where I was so far ahead of the rest of the lobby. So I gotta stop doing that. Let's go to the next video. I've highlighted this video already. My previous video, I talked about this a lot. This is the Babylon game. This is Six City. Well, I bought a settler here, and Six City is kind of hard to do. I'm going Philo actually because of my Civ, because the planted scientist is incredibly strong that you get on Babylon. It becomes an 8 science plant that you get to plant on turn 39 or 38, so that's incredibly strong. I realize no one's building Oracle, so I'm just going to build Oracle. But my Oracle's not fast. After Oracle, I realize no one's on Henge. So I just like this is some of the like being smart when you're playing trad. When you're opportunistic about things, you notice what people are and aren't building. You can get a lot of wonders just because people aren't going for things because they don't need it in their game. My game, I don't need Oracle. I'm already on a Culture Path, but that doesn't mean it's not still good. I also am making some faith, even because I think, like 5 tobacco tiles and a faith friend that I eventually ally. I don't necessarily need Henge. That doesn't mean it's not still good. I build both of those, and then I go into, I think I go to NC after, and then I go into Chichen. Maybe I don't go into NC after. It doesn't look like I go into Chichen. I get a late Chichen, but I got it, right? It's turn 63. It's not especially fast. Afterwards, I go into, I think I go into NC into Huey and Cap. I get an all thing and expand. I get a hanging in this expand. This expand also just queues Parthenon. And the reason I'm getting these wonders is just no one else is building them. My game doesn't need them, but it's stronger for having them. And this game was a bunch of being opportunistic on this really wide build. Let's fast forward. I think I'm 70 unis or 69 unis. I'm some insane uni timing that's like not fair because this civ is broken. I think this gets down. I think I'm 70 unis on the dot. Yeah, it looks like I do. I don't even think I build Anchor Y. I don't think I have the hammers for it. And I want to build Huey, so I just build a uni. And then I build Huey. Like, this game, I obviously want to build Huey much earlier than this, but I can't. I think I'm very fast factories. Looks like I'm 86. And at this point in time, I realize I'm actually getting attacked. This game was insane. I would have run over the lobby if I didn't get attacked at this timing, which was a low interactive attack, and this was the issue when I settled Nippur. Was Mega comes in, Mega Walk, a very, very, very good player, with Ship of the Lines and trash units. Um, the moment he takes Nippur, I'm dead. He can get boats in this lake, and this is kind of the easy to do it. You know, I'm always kind of dead to this timing. I have to be okay with that. But this was incredibly weak land that I had to. This was the best way to play it. Now you can make an argument. Well, you shouldn't have done it, but the game, there was no easy winning position without settling the way I did and playing it the way I did on this land. So I end up dying, and I end up loading in, and I think I'm pretty salty at the end of it. He eventually takes my cap. I recap it for a while so he doesn't get it. Like, 2-pop city is 6-pop, probably less city by the end of it. Yeah, like, I'm going to keep recapping with artillery. He's not, this kill isn't really worth, he gets a bunch of techs, but then I realize at the end of the game, it's turn 10, I load in, it's turn 106, he doesn't have factories. He has schools queued in every city, but no factories. He doesn't have ideology anytime soon. He's making 360 science per turn. His tech's going to be fine, but, this isn't easy from here unless I just leave the game, and I don't plan to. So he's not particularly relevant, but, he's alive and I'm not, so there's something to be said. Game ends up scrapping anyway. Doesn't matter. But a very cool still kind of game. Ship of the Line are broken. You can't interact with them. 32 range strength is insane on a unit. Always vulnerable to this. Anyway, so let's talk about the game recap as I represent my PowerPoint. So, why tradition build? The whole point of this build is that everything was an opportunistic wonder. T50 Oracle, turn 54 Stonehenge, turn 63 Chichen, opportunistic expand wonders. This was not all enabled by this bullshit Civ that I played very well. And then the Patro was very good, right? All of these culture allies, happy ally, culture friend. I don't get every CS on the map, but I get a lot pretty early on turn 83. I have 6 of them. That's very strong. Turn 86 factories, set up to do very well. Lost the game, but still had quite an incredible game, despite all that. So, the last game I want to highlight is probably was some of the hardest land to play. This was a really, really fast game. I multi-stole as Greece, but I have no land, and the land's not very good. That being said, I go GL in my capital and into Petra. That's what I want this game. Side note, common theme. I want Petra in a lot of these trad games. When I have a Petra cap or a very, very good Petra expands, I am incentivized to play trad because the wonder is broken, so incredibly strong, so synergistic with tradition. It's great on Liberty too, don't get me wrong. And if you can get it on Liberty and the rest of your land's Liberty, great. But Petra just feels like one of those wonders that really, really ties your trad games together and really makes it, an elite tradition game. Anyway, I get GL. Not particularly fast, but I don't think it's contested. I think I actually delay it so I can GL currency. I obviously on this build, I would love to go hanging and expand. Grabo is actually in this game to my right, and he builds a hanging. I think I turn into it and I lose it, or I see that he's building in Sparta. Wonder-wise, this is, yeah, he finishes Stonehenge. I think he starts hanging. I think I have hanging in Sparta. I think I want to queue it this turn. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. But that's okay. I'm going for Philo because I realize we're the only 2 trad players. If I remember correctly, Sodium's Honor, Delta's Liberty, Thor is Piety? No, Thor's Honor as well. And Fran is also Coastal Trad, but I'm not worried about. For whatever reason, he was going for Colossus. That's why. He was going for the Coastal Wonders. No one's in Philo. So I just go Philo. And I go Petra. Now I have the best city on the map after this city's built Petra. So I'm on altars. I just queue up Oracle. I get the Oracle. I go into a very fast NC. So I'm finishing my NC on turn 56. I'm getting civil on turn 55. I finish my NC and then I go straight into Chichen. I'm delaying my GA, so to try to time it with after. So I finish Chichen. I'm gonna GA like 2 turns after I finish, or 4 turns after I finish Chichen. I build an Aya to help with my religion game. This city builds a Huey because it's 2 tile Huey and it just needs food. This land is very weak. These cities are gonna have a really hard time getting above 15 pop and continuing to grow. I know that. What I would ordinarily do on a build like this is I would try to kill someone. I don't have any neighbors. like I have a mountain pass over here. I have Delta's above me, but he's through a city-state line, and then also I'd be killing mid-map. I don't think anyone's gonna attack me. Grabo's really far, so like I don't think Fran can ever kill me here. I don't think anybody can very easily kill me here at all. So that is the perfect angle for a tourism game. I think I go unis first this game, and because I'm so isolated, I feel comfortable that I can skip workshops. I'm something insane like 64 unis, 63 unis, which is not like insane, but it's fast. I go shops after. I think I hard build a Sistine because aesthetics tourism needs it. Yeah, I think I'm 4 turning Sistine. I think I get this Machu too. It's just insane. I'm pushing aesthetics. The crazy thing is this pork timing. It's like I think this is 79 porcelain tower. It's in the slide. We'll see later. Yeah, I finished Alhambra. Yeah, I finished pork this turn. Yep, engineered it. But already you can see like the growth's starting to slow in these cities. I know I'm not gonna have infinite science. I have to be really smart about where I'm putting my tech this game and where I'm going. And so, I build a bunch of wonders, queue my factories, start making great works, start aesthetics 4, ratio 0, finishing my factories. I get freedom in 4 turns, and just start pushing tourism. Unfortunately, the end of this game is that when people realize you start taking tourism, they get scared and they make bad plays. So what happens here is I try to get factory RD'd by sodium. Little does you know, like, it's really hard to fact RD someone who is going to be in schools that much before you, and factories that much. Like, when you're 89 factories and then like 73 schools, it's really hard to fact RD that person, especially when your factory time is probably like 91-ish. And he has to take a city-state. I kind of mess up the war a bit. Honestly, it was not the best. But I end up just going for Jewies, which, if you've ever shot a Jewy in a fort with a Great War Infantry in a fort with their artillery, they don't do very much damage. They dink them for like, I don't know, 10 damage. He has auto though, but I get ward. I really mess up Corinth. It's a hard city to hold. These cities are incredibly easy to hold though. Eventually, on like turn 115, I just Oxford infantry, and he pieces me, and I realize I don't have the tech to actually go internet anymore. This is kind of the issue with tourism. Is like, I went out on these military techs because I'm getting ward. Would I play this out in a tourney game? Yes, of course. My next scientist is in 13 turns. Like, I'm not getting labs anytime soon. I'm not doing anything anytime soon. Effectively, my winning percent chance after this happens is effectively 0. So he kicked me out of the game by doing this. He eared himself by doing this too. Sodium did not win this game. Thor, like, while we're doing this, Thor and Delth are gearing up to fight at land ships. He doesn't have schools yet. Delth ends up counter-killing Thor on auto. Fran kills Grabo and then goes space. And that's kind of the ending of this game. And obviously I'm mad. I was upset with Sodium for doing this, but at the end of the day, whatever. This is a Civ game. You can only do so much. So that was kind of the build. So, like, playing very differently on this one. So, no, I have no neighbors. I can be very greedy. I get this fast Petra. Nobody's going for the Oracle. I get the opportunistic Oracle. I get pretty standard Chichen timing. I get the Aya, and then I'm straight into unis. Fast culture, fast porcelain tower, super greedy. I can't get punished because nobody's close enough to really punish me. Yeah, like Sodium warded me. He took a city, whatever. He can't kill me, and this game sucks for it. It just is very unfortunate. So, it ends my game, but most of the time when you get attacked in Civ, this is not a very resilient build. Was the best when I didn't pick honor on the spawn. This was the best build I could do. Um, Recapping this, I know this is a pretty long video. I think this slide encompasses the video as a whole. You know, we're going through all these examples of how to build a trad build. The first deviation of tradition is like, what wonder do you want early? Do you want Stonehenge or do you want GL? And then going from there, are you really pushing for Hanging Petra or are you really pushing for Oracle? It's kind of the two standard deviations. But there's other things you can do along the way, other gaps you can fill, and you can see like secondary policy trees amongst all these games are different, right? Even the similar ones, right? Like, let's take the two four city ones. You know, this one was piety because this one was piety because I lost all faith. Um, this one was aesthetics because I got Stonehenge, I got some of the faith wonders, and I'm in this corner and I know I can greed. This game I know I have to be active, and Pedro's better for being active early. This one, I'm allowed to scale more. I'm allowed to scale harder. I was enabled to get the wonders that helped me do that. Sorry, I don't have to be active in the Nubia game, but I don't have faith, so I have to go piety. What I was more saying is I got a little confused, but the Moors game I'm allowed to scale more. The Greece game I have to be active, right? I'm 5 cities. I know I have 2 neighbors that like are putting pressure on me. I'm not super fast. I know I have to pick a timing when I'm strong, and I did. Um, you know, this is not the best example because I was still scaling in this game, but I was just set up to play the late game in a variety of ways. I was like Petro, I could have gone auto, I could have gone order. I was kind of set up to do whatever. I was still kind of scaling, but you get attacked, and that's what happens when your game's really strong sometimes, because they know if people know that they can kill you, even though your game's strong, they're going to. And Mega had this unit that I couldn't interact with, and that killed me, right? This game, like I had to play completely differently than all the other games, even though we're seeing this rather standard build, because I have no neighbors, because no one's close to me, no one can kill me. Sodium tried to kill me, he couldn't kill me, and so I'm playing this greedy. I think tourism's quite bad. I think tourism needs a total rework, but I think it was correct in this spot. I think that was the best way to give myself winning chances, and all of this stems from your Pantheon choice. The first wonders you build. What wonders do you need? What wonders you don't? Trad is great at picking up the wonders along the way that nobody else wants, but this is really how Trad should be played. Opportunistic. What's the best thing for your game? What do you need? Understanding all that, understanding how to play the game, and go from there. And that's how you make a good trad build. It really is. These 5 games are good trad builds. Bad trad game builds, oftentimes you end up going expos because your game's going to suck and someone's always going to have a better game than you. So, all right, I know that was a very long video. I think that's about an hour. So I hope you watch it. I hope everybody enjoys it. I had a ton of fun making it. So I'll see you next time.